Hello, welcome back to the kitchen. We're going to be making buttermilk cookies today, and I have a recipe here for just the regular version. This is an old family recipe, and today I'm going to be making a variation that is citrus flavored. I also do make a chocolate version sometimes, so leave me a comment if you want me to make the chocolate version sometime. But today we're going to be doing citrus. Here's our ingredients. We have 1 cup of butter, which is the same as 2 sticks. We have our 2 eggs, and these have been sitting out for maybe an hour, so they're pretty much room temperature. I'm going to be using the gluten-free flour that I used in my last cookie recipe. This is the King Arthur Measure for Measure gluten-free flour. I can't tell you how it compares to any other gluten-free flours because this is the only one I've tried so far. But I can tell you that this one is good. And the reason why I picked this one is that unlike some of the other gluten-free flours I looked at that were just all refined grains, this one does have at least part whole grain brown rice flour. So that was important because I really do prefer the whole grains. Okay, then to make our cookies rise, we have 2 different ingredients. Most recipes will call for either or, but this recipe calls for both baking soda and baking powder. And first our brown sugar. I'm going to be pressing the brown sugar into the cup through the bag so my hand doesn't get all sugary, because brown sugar is an ingredient that you want to pack down into the cup, unlike most of your other ingredients like regular sugar or flour. Brown sugar is the only one I know of that you have to pack down. Okay, and then I'm just leveling it off with my knife here, so it's flat on top. And now a little sandcastle. Okay, one more. My butter is still a little bit hard. It hasn't been sitting out long enough. So I'm going to put it in the microwave for a little bit. I'm going to do 30 seconds on 50% power. Okay, so when I press into it, it leaves a fingerprint behind, so it's good. Okay, next we need to beat our butter and sugar together. I almost forgot to put my silicone thing underneath the bowl to keep it from moving around. So I kind of forgot that this recipe, it doesn't really get light and fluffy. This recipe is a little different from most cookie recipes. So as you can see from the footage earlier, it looks more kind of like crumbly. So we're going to add the rest of the ingredients and then beat. Our 2 eggs. Okay, I just got done washing my hands because I touched the raw eggs. So we're going to add in our, oh darn it. Okay, the 1 cup of butter was supposed to be melted, not just room temperature. So this isn't quite right, but I think it'll still turn out fine. We'll see. Okay, so let's just add the rest of our ingredients. Our baking powder and baking soda. We need 1 teaspoon of each. contrary to popular belief, mistakes in baking aren't necessarily the end of the world. One time I did forget to put milk in a cupcake recipe in 5th grade, and they had turned out like little hockey pucks. So that did not turn out good, but I think this will be fine, because once we beat it up, the butter will it'll get warmer as we beat it, and it'll get mixed in with everything else anyway. I also forgot that we need to get the buttermilk out of the refrigerator, obviously, because these are buttermilk cookies. Okay, and I have my liquid measuring cup. I've been told that liquid and dry measures are different, so technically you should not use this for measuring liquids. It's not to say I haven't done it in the past, but we'll just do it the right way this time. Okay, 2 cups brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 cup of butter that was supposed to be melted, 1 teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder, and let's beat this up and then we'll add our flour. Scrape down the bowl because we want all the ingredients to get evenly mixed and not have a bunch of flour and other stuff that did not get mixed stuck to the side of the bowl. I normally scrape this off here like this too to make sure there's nothing stuck to the spatula that's not getting mixed in. It's turning a lighter color as it's getting mixed. There's still some of the darker dough stuck to the side here. So I'm going to scrape that off, scrape it down. Yeah, I couldn't do that one-handed anymore, it's too thick. So I'm going to scrape this spatula off on the beaters, so that all the stuff that was stuck to the spatula is also going to get mixed in evenly. And let's scrape down these beaters too. It's climbing up the beaters. Alright, I'm going to take these beaters off and just let them sit upright in the batter. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to make our icing. Yes, I forgot to tell you these cookies have icing. First, let's clean the batter off the iPad cord. Whoopsies. Okay, so here's my plan. I started preheating the oven. It's going to be at 350 degrees. And I put the container of batter on top of the oven just temporarily so that it will get some of the heat. So that will hopefully make the butter be a little bit more melty than it would be otherwise, and the batter a little less thick. I'm going to take it off before it gets too hot though, and I took the rubber spatula out of that bowl so that it won't get affected by the heat. Alright, we're going to mix up our icing. And here's our ingredients. We have confectioners sugar. This is also called 10x sometimes, or powdered sugar. You can see there it says 10x powdered. It just means that it's like your regular sugar, but they ground it, I'm assuming they ground it 10 additional times in order to make it more fine and powdery, so it's going to be perfect for making icing. And we have 1.5 cups of butter. The original recipe calls for shortening, aka like Crisco, you know, but I like to use the actual butter instead. And then we have our flavorings. I bought lemon extract, lime extract, and orange extract. So we're going to try those out. And my food coloring to make it look like it's yellowish or orangish. And we also have more, actually it does call for milk. So in place of milk, sometimes I use some of the leftover buttermilk in place of the milk and the icing. Or for the citrus version, I think we're going to try replacing at least some of it with some lemon juice. So I have my 2 lemons here. I'm going to wash those and squeeze them. Okay, also as something a little extra special, I'm going to make some lemon zest to put in both the frosting and into the batter too. So to make our zest, we're going to be grating our lemon peel into this dish here using this grater. It smells really good. You can smell the lemon right away. And I'm not grating too much in any one spot because you know how underneath the peel of any citrus fruit there's that white stuff inside the peel? We don't want to get the white stuff into it because that is going to make it a little bit bitter. We only want to get the yellow part of the rind. Or if you choose to use oranges or some other citrus fruit for this, you know, the orange part of the rind, whatever color it is. Alright, there's our zest. It doesn't make a whole lot, but it does have a big flavor. It will give our cookies a much stronger lemon flavor than they would have had otherwise. And there's the oven, all preheated. Okay, next. Actually, usually I roll the lemons on the counter like this a little bit to get the juices going in there. I'm going to put some of my zest into the dough right now. Alright, this has gotten pretty warm from sitting on top of the oven while it was preheating. So it actually is less thick. So I'm going to just sprinkle in a little bit of the zest here. Okay, then before I scoop these cookies up onto the baking sheet, I'll give them one more beat just to make sure everything's blended in really well, including our new zest. Just pick out the seeds. And I'm just going to use a fork to sift out the seeds. You could just run this through a sieve or something, but because I mixed my zest in already, I don't want the sieve to sieve out my zest. So this method is going to get just the seeds out. Alright, first we need 4 tablespoons of flour, 4 tablespoons of milk, or in this case, citrus juice. I know I've talked about the difference between teaspoons and tablespoons before, but usually I'm not ending up using them both in one recipe, so here they are actually side by side. You can see the difference. That's the tablespoon, that's the teaspoon. Oh, and I have some extra lemon juice. Okay, I'll have to use that for something. Alright, and our butter, which first we need to microwave for a bit because it's still too hard. I'm going to do 1 minute on 50% power. This looks about right. 4 cups of our confectioner sugar. The thing about this stuff is it tends to get everywhere. Scrape down the sides to make sure all the good sugar and other stuff gets mixed in evenly. Alright, our icing is done. Looks so good. So it's done other than adding the flavors and colors, but right now I want to get the cookies in the oven so that we don't keep wasting oven power because it's already preheated. So let's just clean up a little bit and then get our baking sheets. Okay, so we're going to blend this up one more time like I said. Okay, as you can see, I'm just scraping off the beaters. Try not to waste any dough. It's pretty sticky. Okay, now the store was out of parchment paper, so I only have 1 sheet left. So I'm just going to be getting 1 pan ready at a time. That's okay, because I'm not going to be making all this at once anyway. I'm going to just make maybe a couple dozen or so, and then save the rest of the dough in the refrigerator and make another time. These can tend to spread a bit, so I'm not going to put them too close. So that's enough. And we put them in for 10 minutes. As you can see, I put my cookies in on the top rack just because I find I have less problems with the bottoms getting burnt that way. If I was doing 2 pans at a time, I would do them on the top 2 racks and then check them halfway through just to make sure that if one's getting done too much on top and the other one's getting done too much on bottom, I can flip them halfway through. But since I'm just doing 1, I'm going to leave this in on top for the whole 10 minutes. Alright, you can see my dough was climbing up the beaters so much that it's cut dough gunked all around the parts where the beaters attach. So be sure and check that, and if that same problem happens to you, clean it before it gets hardened. And I always wipe all the, tends to get flour on it too. I wipe that off every time I use it. I'm tasting this with even with the lemon zest in it and the lemon juice. It's already so citrusy. And remember, we're still going to add our citrus extracts, so I think this is going to be really good. Alright, let's try the lemon first. Now it does call for 1 teaspoon for this whole thing, so let's just use this to make sure we don't get too much. I'll try and fill this 1/3 full. Just a few drops, I think. And we'll just add a few drops of the yellow. This is fun to watch, where you mix it in and the color spreads. I like this part. There, and it looks even more fluffy now from stirring it. Okay, and now let's try the orange. should be done. Maybe one more minute. Okay, and finally, the lime. A little bit. Okay, so we'll do... I just want it to be a really light green, so I'm going to do like 2 drops of green. That might already be too much. Maybe I should have just done 1 drop. And 2 drops of the yellow for a yellowish green. Yeah, I just don't want it to be a really obnoxious green. I think this is good. Alright, here they are. I'm gonna set them on the cooling rack. What I'm talking about. This is my cooling rack. So I'm gonna set them on top of that so that they cool faster and don't damage the counter. Alright, I'm gonna let them cool for a couple minutes before moving them onto their own cooling rack. This one here. Because you should let the cookies sit on the cookie pan for just a couple minutes before you try to move them, because you don't want to risk that they would break or bend while they're still so hot. So I have just here the regular, like your regular average food colors. I was thinking of trying those all natural plant-based colors at some point once I use these up. Has anyone tried those? And if so, let me know how you like them. It's been 1 or so minutes, so I'm going to transfer these cookies onto their own cooling rack so they can cool the rest of the way. I do have to be patient and let them cool before we add the frosting, otherwise the frosting will melt. Oh, I guess I should demonstrate this for those that haven't seen this. So I just scoop this in, press it up against the side of the bowl to make sure that it's pressed in. And then you just squeeze the little handles together to make your cookie drop out. Some people, I think, have ice cream scoopers that work the same way. Or like the stereotypical lunch lady image, dishing out the goopy mashed potatoes. It reminds me of that graphic novel series, the Lunch Lady series. That's pretty funny if you haven't checked that out. The heroine is a school lunch lady by day, but then on the side she's actually fighting off supervillains. Alright, we'll put these in for 10 minutes. No, you're not cool enough yet. Okay, we'll be back to ice these. Time for icing! Let's see, I think I'm gonna do the orange first. And if you want to get extra fancy, you can even sprinkle some sugar on the top. Oh, I never even opened this. I think they're just really pretty plain like that, actually. So I might not do the sugar, but oh my goodness, I just spilled that everywhere. It's all stuck in the plastic seal. Okay, well. Guess we'll just use those. See the finished product? They're so pretty. Alright, I think I'm going to taste the lemon one. This is really good. Okay, I would recommend trying this for sure. Yeah, those are really good. These would be extra pretty for a spring garden party or something like that. Or like the lime ones would be cool for a St. Patrick's Day event. Yeah, let's start looking forward to spring already. Alright, thanks for joining me in the kitchen. I hope you have a great week and we'll see you again next time. Also, just a quick reminder, the library is still closed to the public, but we are open for curbside pickup service only. You can place your item requests on our website, or you can call us. Staff are available to answer the phones during our normal hours. We're just not open for public to come in. Also, we do have our winter reading program going on right now. You can sign up and track your minutes The link is on our website to do that. If you need any help, just give us a call. Alright, bye!